Hi guys, my name's Emma and let's talk spooky stuff. So today I'm actually going to do a reply video, and this reply video is on Sarah Hawkinson's psychology of horror video. Sarah is a YouTuber who does videos on psychology. She does like bullet journaling, she does a lot of fashion, and then she also has a vlog channel and a horror channel. So I'll be sure to link them below. I love her psychology videos, and I thought it was really interesting when she posted one on the psychology of horror. And as I was watching it, I was like, man, I want to have a big conversation with you guys about this because I think you'll find it really interesting. So please go check out her video first. The link will be down below. She's got a degree in psychology, so her degree is a lot different to my background, which is in media. So the way that she describes things and how she talks about things are going to be a lot more precise than the way I do, so please excuse that. So in this video, I thought it'd be really interesting if we talked about the theories that Sarah talked about and see if I find them relative to us, because I feel like us guys we dig the same kind of stuff. I know if you subscribe to this, you probably dig the same kind of movies that I do, and I want to go into why some of the theories that she talked about don't really involve us guys, and then also why I personally think that I like horror. But please feel free to use the comments as an open forum and write down what you think applies to you. I'd really like to know what you guys' thoughts and feelings are on all of these theories. So the first thing that Sarah did in her video is she read an article that she said she didn't agree with, and this is the funny thing between me and Sarah is that we are similar age and we're both females. But in terms of subgenres, we like completely different subgenres of horror, so I don't think we really like the same kind of horror movies. So I think that some things really apply to me and some things really apply to her, and I guess that's how it all works. Everyone is so complex and different. So let's talk about a few facts from the article that she said that she didn't agree with. Obviously, the high empathy, enjoying horror less. Do you agree with that, guys? Do you think that you're a bunch of fucking sociopaths? I don't believe that. I do think that empathy is one of my highest qualities ever. I empathize so bad. If someone falls over and everyone laughs at that person, I just automatically feel awful for that person. So I think empathy is a huge a role in my personality, and especially a huge role of how I react to people. So I do not agree with that at all. And obviously I don't agree with what the article said in the regards that it's males who are aggressive. The article also said that people who typically like horror also have an adrenaline-seeking personality, which I would agree a little bit. I would say safe adrenaline, and I'll get into that later, but I don't think that people like horror because they want to get a huge adrenaline rush. I think that's why people go to haunted houses and stuff like that. Horror is so different because I would never walk into a haunted house. I'm scared shitless of that stuff, which is really interesting, and I think we can all kind of experience that differently, but I really don't think adrenaline junkies play into it. Adrenaline, of course, plays into it, and whether you're aware of that or not, but all of the people I know that are adrenaline junkies would be more into horror movies. Do you know what I mean? And I guess that's where I find everything that Sarah said a little bit different to how I see horror movies. I can really like it, but it doesn't have to be scary. So many movies like Serbian film, Human Centipede. Would you say Human Centipede is scary? I wouldn't say it was scary. You know what I mean? I don't know if I've been desensitized over the years, but I wouldn't say it's scary. Things like Raw, I wouldn't say is a scary movie. I would say it is gory and it is disturbing, but I wouldn't say there's jump scares or anything crazy like that. Which is interesting. Sarah also talked about the evolutionary theory. I hope I'm saying that correctly. She explains it really well, but pretty much it is, our ancestors packing those thoughts into our head, and as we go on in evolution, we still have those fears of, dying out and being eaten and, being the prey instead of the predator. So that's in our heads, and maybe if we go watch horror movies, it is the thought of getting ahead and knowing what predator is out there ready to go. And that's why we're kind of scared of horror movies as well, because we're scared of being eaten and of disease and all that kind of stuff. I feel like that's very straightforward, and I believe that 100%, but also the paranormal factor kind of doesn't really count into that, because I don't think our ancestors were scared of ghosts, and I think that that's something we're really scared of, ghosts and aliens, unless that shit did happen in the past. Aliens, the sun god. So I don't know if you guys feel the same, because I know a lot of you guys really like vampires and werewolves, and I'm not so much into that kind of stuff, so I guess it depends on the person. The most important thing that I think that Sarah touched on was that horror needed 3 things to be successful. The study she talked about said tension, relevance, and unrealism, which I do not, I don't know. I believe in some respects, and I'm sure there's some evidence to back it up, more evidence than my thoughts. But what I am thinking with how I think, and I'm sure how some of you guys think. It doesn't really come into play with that. So she referred to a study that was done where people watched some really horrific videos that were real, and they couldn't even watch till the end, and they were super graphic and super fucked up, which I completely understand. I wonder how long the videos were, but I can completely understand. People don't want to watch things that are gory and real. But to counterbalance that, what the fuck is the deal with true crime then? Do you know what I mean? Like, we like real disturbing things. And if you talk about like disturbing documentaries, we're all for that. You know, there's really successful documentaries. I've actually done a whole video on disturbing documentaries, such as Dear Zachary, Cropsy. I know you guys love Cropsy, you always talk about it. There's a Slender Man one, Just Melvin, Just Evil, or whatever that one's called. There's several ones, you know, like Aileen, all the serial killer ones. There's so many, and why do we find that stuff so alluring and so disturbing and so satisfying and something that we seek out? Of course, it's not a horror movie, but I feel like I get the same thrill from watching that, and even more of a thrill because it is real. So if we want something that is unrealistic, why are we heading towards disturbing documentaries? And why are we so fascinated with serial killers? And maybe this isn't meant to be in the same spectrum, but I totally believe all these things interconnect. Because when I talk to you guys, you always ask me what disturbing movies I watch, what disturbing documentaries I watch, what disturbing TV shows I watch, what creepypastas I like. You like everything disturbing. That's my point. So if we like everything disturbing, how does that fit into why we like to get adrenaline from a horror movie, if that makes any sense with you guys? I feel like that also comes into play with the fact that, and this is pretty graphic, but if you are going past like, you know, a car crash or something, you're not looking away trying not to see. Are you one of those people who do? Please let me know down below. But everyone is trying to see what's going on. If there's action, if there's something happening, everyone wants to see what is going on. I'm not saying that makes you a morbid person because you want the facts, but I'm saying we are still curious about the disturbing things in life, and I feel like that curiosity really transfers over to horror movies. I did read a Time article that says disturbing things trigger fear in a controlled environment like skydiving, so adrenaline, which that is kind of what I agree with. I believe that horror is a controlled environment. Movies are a controlled environment. That's why I'm always confused why people get scared of movies, because as scary as something can be, and maybe people get nightmares, I'm not so scared of the aftermath where a lot of people are. But also I heard about a study that said that people walking out of a horror movie were more likely to talk about the thrill and the experience and the how exciting it all was compared to the moments where they were scared. So once a horror movie is over, they feel like that kind of the closure and you know, whether the hero wins or whatever, they just feel that release. So obviously I thought that was interesting because the release is something that obviously happens in a controlled environment. Obviously a huge reason that people like horror movies is because of escapism, and I believe this, of course, but I also think that that's why people like all movies, and that's why I like movies. And that brings me into another theory that I have that I'm sure is an actual theory, but something that I've always thought about is the fact, how did I get into liking horror movies? I started watching movies, I got so into movies when I was younger, and especially a lot in my teenage years, and I just became so obsessed, and I just wanted to like feel the emotions and like the escapism from movies. Sounds so sad. And I got so much into it that I just wanted to find the thing that would affect me the most next. How much can I feel from these movies? How emotional can I get from a movie? How much can this impact me? And I think that horror movies were the next choice, because I'm sure that no one would argue that a horror movie is the most extreme version of a movie. It's horrific, and it's like, I don't know, it just is the thing that impacts you the most. I mean, there's always good dramas and there's always the classics, but horror movies are always gonna be like an intense ride. But in saying that, I just don't understand why I don't like action films. Maybe I don't empathize with the characters as much, the fucking brooding men, who knows? Do you guys prefer action movies over horror movies? Another theory comes from a self-confessed film snob who says, we want to see the worst of humanity and see if we can stand it, which I like that. And there is a theory that when you walk out of a horror movie, you do feel stronger than you felt before. And maybe that goes back to the evolutionary theory, where we are just trying to like build ourselves up. That could be the reason why we all end up where we do in what I was just saying about watching like the most intense films. You keep building yourself up and seeing how far you can push yourself and seeing how much you can stand and how strong you are, until you end up watching a Serbian film and then wondering who the fuck you are. There's also obviously the Boomerang Effect, I believe it's called, where you know, if something's taboo, it's pretty much if something is taboo, how much more people will be into it. The Boomerang Theory can also be like translated into something that happened with Barbra Streisand. So this photo came out years ago of Barbra Streisand's house, and it was on like this cliff face, and she was like, shit, I don't want anyone to know where I live. I'm gonna take legal action to get this removed from the website it's on. So apparently 6 people before she started legal action actually downloaded the photo, and then after it was like hundreds. You know what I mean? If something's taboo, and this goes back to the car crash, if you see something that you're not meant to see, if someone tells you, oh, this thing is really creepy, if someone tells you like, Raw, that's like the goriest movie ever, you wanna see it, you're curious. That's why I think that you and I probably like disturbing movies. We are just curious animals, and we wanna see how far we can push it, and that's how I feel about horror. And I feel like I pushed it so far, I don't know where the line is. I feel like I pushed a lot of ranting, raving onto you guys. Let me know down below what you think and what your theories are personally on horror. Thank you again, Sarah, for your video. I really enjoyed it. Guys, please make sure you check out her channel and let her know that I sent you. Okay guys, can't wait to read your comments. I'll talk to you very soon.